I want to say thank you so much. Sandra Smith, our immigration attorney. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to open up the phone lines before I have her respond and tell us what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, call right now to get your immigration questions answered. The number to call is 1-877-320-5465. That is 877-320-5465. 877-320-5465. Give us a call, ladies and gentlemen, right now, right here on Link Up Radio 93.5 WVIP. We must remind you that you can listen to us on linkupradio.com, or you can go to our Facebook page to listen to us or comment on, of course, the immigration questions and answers. Once again, this is Link Up Radio 93.5 with Sandra Smith, our immigration attorney, and we must remind everyone that this is an attorney advertisement brought to you by the law offices of Sandra Smith and Associates, located at 40 Wall Street in the Trump Building on the 28th floor. She's one very busy attorney, especially over the holidays, where we're telling people to be proactive and get, of course, an appointment with Sandra Smith. So call us now, 877-320-5465. If you do call now, I promise you, you will get through. That's 877-320-5465. But in a few minutes, you will not be able to get through because this immigration segment right here has been running for years. 877-320-5465. Sandra, I know you've got a lot to talk to us about, seeing that you've been away for a couple of days. It's time to talk and expand and expound and extend. What do you have to tell us, Ms. Attorney?
Nothing much. I mean, I kind of want to reiterate something that I've mentioned previously here on radio, with regards to the New York Court of Appeals, which is the highest court in New York, that recently held that due process requires that judges warn defendants of possible deportation as a result of any felony guilty pleas. So what's happening now is that defendants will now be allowed to vacate previous convictions if they weren't warned of the immigration consequences. So that's good news. I just want to reiterate it here again, reiterate it this morning, this afternoon.
Wonderful, wonderful.
The only thing I have to say is that, I'm getting a lot of calls with regards to this issue, and there are a lot of hopefuls out there. I don't want to dash anyone's hopes, David, but, just because a plea is subsequently vacated does not mean that the case will go away. You still have to deal with the charges, and the government is going to try to prove that you're guilty. So if you're subsequently found guilty after you've vacated those convictions, you will then have to deal with the consequences, the immigration consequences. So therefore, I think it's imperative that, when you have that first consultation about the matter, you have to be clear about what you're getting yourself into. People get a good consultation before you decide to move forward and vacate any previous convictions.
Wow. Hearing you speak and articulate this so very well is just so impressive, and I can hear and feel the depth in your knowledge and experience in dealing with people who have had these situations, Sandra. And it's just a pleasure, actually hearing
David,
you.
because, I know that the Court of Appeals in New York just recently had this decision, but these kind of cases have been around for a while. I mean, you probably heard about, of course, you've been around too, David, Padilla versus Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Same situation, but in that case, it was the attorneys who were supposed to be warning folks of, any potential immigration consequences. Now they're saying the court and the judges should. Now here's my thing about this. I still think that it should be the attorneys who should be warning individuals of the immigration consequences. You know why? Because they're the one who know exactly what's going on with that particular individual's cases. So even though the court has held this, my thing is that the judges don't really know what's going on. The court doesn't know what's going on. They're not in a position necessarily to advise clients of any pleas that they're going to be taking and any subsequent immigration consequences. So you still need to talk to your attorney for those moving forward. But for those who had already pled guilty, you know now that you can vacate those convictions if, in fact, you were not warned of the immigration consequences.
Once again, folks, speaking with this powerful immigration attorney, Sandra Smith, I say to people out there, you need to call her office to set up an appointment. Do it very quickly. As you all hear and know, and whenever you don't hear her on the radio, it doesn't mean her offices are not open. It doesn't mean she doesn't have tons of people working for her, but it means that she's personally handling your case in court or elsewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, the number to call her office right now as a U.S. immigration attorney. She also handled divorces, by the way. The number to call is 877-829-5297. That is 877-829-5297. 877-829-5297. And it's not just about, getting some information. You will also be entertained when you have Sandra Smith and Squeeze. So make sure you tune in to SNS. 877-829-5297. Let's take one quick call and then we'll come back and have you expand a little bit more on quite a few things, Sandra. All right? Hello, caller. How are you? And welcome to the Immigration Link. How is everything?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Welcome to the Immigration Link with Squeeze and Sandra. What's up?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I came in this country on farm work.
Mm-hmm.
I got a social, and my wife married to me, so I want to know if I could start to work on that social or I cannot do it.
Yes, sir. So you said your wife filed for you, or what did you say? Your wife already
No,
filed for you?
I came in this country. I'm a farmer.
You're as a
So
farmer.
I overstay my visa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And you're subsequently
I have a social. My wife married to me. My wife got to file my paper.
Uh-huh.
So I want to know if I could apply for work with my social.
Okay, so here's the quick answer. That social that you have, you're going to have it forever. That's the first thing. Secondly, when your wife files for you, I'm assuming that she's a U.S. citizen. Is she a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Okay, when she files for you, and when she puts the paperwork in for you in about 3-4 months or so, you should get your green card. You will still have that same social that you had previously, and then
Okay, I'm sorry. No, she don't claim citizen as yet. She gonna claim citizen in a couple of months.
in a couple of months. So it doesn't matter. She can still put the papers in for you before she turns a citizen. As a permanent resident, she can still file papers for you.
Yeah, she put in the papers before she turns citizen. Yes.
Okay. All right. So you should be fine moving forward. And yes, you'll be having that same social security number that you have moving forward. All right?
So I can go ahead and apply for work and use a social security number?
No. Here's the thing. You are not allowed to work yet because you don't have a work permit or a green card. Once your wife puts the papers in for you and you get your green card, then you'll be able to move forward working with that same social security number. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Absolutely. Once again, folks, call Sandra Smith's office. The number, once again, is 877-829-5297. That's 877-829-5297. Make that call right now, ladies and gentlemen, to Sandra Smith's office and set up your consultation. The consultation is very, very, very low. Make that call, 877-829-5297. And, of course, ladies and gentlemen, she'll take care of you very swiftly. Just please do not wait until after the holidays. Don't. Be proactive. All right, let's take one more call, Sandra. Hello, caller. How are you?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, and
Yeah,
welcome
hi.
to the Immigration Link. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I was arrested in 2005 for sales, but I pled guilty to possession. It was like 2 grams. It was like 2 grams, but I got my green card in 2011. Is that going to stop me from getting citizen, or I have to get a vacation too?
Okay. Yeah, okay. So, how are you? So, when you said you pled guilty, you were convicted of 2 grams. 2 grams of what?
Marijuana.
Marijuana. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And this was your first offense?
For weed, yeah, for weed.
First offense for involving drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've had previous convictions, or do you have other convictions?
Just one.
And what is that? What is that about?
It was disorderly conduct.
Disorderly conduct. All right. So with regards to moving forward with obtaining your citizenship, of course, there are certain things that will bar you from showing good moral character for the 5 years prior to applying for citizenship. One of the things would be controlled substance offense. But if it's the first offense of 30 grams or less of marijuana, you should be okay moving forward. All right?
Okay.
Since it's 2 grams, moving forward, you should be all right with getting your citizenship. All right?
But
Just
if
based
I,
on what you're
hold,
saying.
but hold on, let me just say one thing, all right? Don't do this by your own.
Yeah.
Come see Sandra. Trust me.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I'd love to give you a talk off here if you want me to talk to you. But hear me, come in and come see Sandra, all right? Because you don't want to angle this by
Yeah,
yourself.
that's fine. I never Jamaica yet, so I get the green card. I never Jamaica yet.
All right, hear me. All right, hear what I'm going to do. Hold on a minute, come on and give you a talk. I'm going to make Fata take your number. Come on and give you a talk, Panda, because whole lot of people I deal with, Panda. I want you seriously go see Sandra, because some people take it lightly and then them get, you know what them get, what the dog get. You understand, right?
Yeah.
All right, so hold on a minute. I make Fata deal with it. I just give you a pointer there, right? That's all right. Hold on. But I just, can't hear she grounded, so I have to, make sure so she good and link up with Sandra, because that's how we take care of people, because we know the thing go with the system. Sandra, stay out of this. All right,
No, but David, you're right, because a lot of times, if there are folks who've had convictions involving marijuana, which will be, of course, less than 30 grams, and then subsequently go to an interview for naturalization, and the officer will then say they want to see the arrest records, the minutes of the, of the plea, and all these things. And sometimes, as we know, it's discretionary. They can actually bear these things into mind in making a determination. So what you're saying is correct, is right.
Absolutely. Once again, folks, this is the reason why this is the powerful immigration link right here on 93.5 WVIP. I pride myself in working with this lovely attorney every single weekday. I really, really do pride myself in her depth and her knowledge and her experience. And also, she is barred in Jamaica and Trinidad. When we say barred, we mean that she's off the bar, meaning the legal bar, the law bar. She's an attorney. That's what it means in Jamaica and Trinidad. In other words, she can help you in these countries. So not just the United States. So I'm very proud of her. Give her office a call right now, 877 829-5297, 877-829-5297. Now, one is not saying that you can't actually do these paperwork yourself or do your filings yourself, but there are complexities in many cases, ladies and gentlemen, many cases, and these complexities, if you screw up on any of them, you could potentially end up in deportation, and we don't want that happening. Some of you only have one shot, and when you fail at that one shot, that's it for you. Don't mess around. Go with Sandra Smith. Call her, 877-829-5297. That is 877-829-5297. That's 877-829-5297. Now, Sandra, I want to go back to something with Padilla versus Kentucky, right? With this situation where it was upheld that the attorneys, counsel should tell their client that about the ramifications, God forbid they take a plea, the ramifications on, of course, the immigration. Let me ask you this. Is it kicked back sometimes with the Department of Homeland Security where they say, no, I'm sorry, we're not going with that? Or do they override it? What do they do in these cases? I wanted to just expand a little bit more on that.
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean kickbacks? What do you mean?
Well, for example, someone like, let's say myself here, hypothetically speaking. Let's say I go out there, I have some kind of a criminal conviction, and I had a green card. Okay, and my attorney did not tell me. I'm putting myself in Padilla's position. And my attorney did not tell me, hey, listen, if you plead guilty, you'll get deported. You could potentially get deported. Have you seen here in the New York metro area where, an attorney did not tell that client, and then they are being put in deportation, and actually they end up being deported or not?
Well, I've seen both cases, both sides, where they've ended up being deported, number one, and also where they've actually stayed here and they've been allowed to vacate that conviction, that guilty plea. They've been allowed to throw it out and then subsequently go to trial.
Okay.
Because a lot of times what happens is, you're in court and, you're being faced with charges and you're thinking, man, my family's home, I'm a job, what am I going to do? And then they say to you, if you plead guilty to this, then you're only being given 3 years probation or whatever it is, you can go home. Not telling you that if you do plead guilty, there will be subsequent immigration consequences, meaning that you'll be deported or you're going to be rendered deportable. So a person will accept that. If the person had known, then they probably would have said, no, I'm not going to accept this guilty charge, this guilty plea. I want to go to trial.
Fight, right.
They want to fight it. So then once they fight it now, if they are subsequently found not guilty, then, of course, the person would not be deported.
But here's what I'm saying.
So there are two situations we're dealing with now. We're dealing with the criminal matter. Because remember, we have the criminal matter. Once that's disposed of, whether it's guilty or not guilty, then you're going to have immigration consequences.
That's what I'm asking you. I'm asking
you.
Yeah, the criminal situation is taken care of. Aren't there immigration consequences once you get to that bridge?
Of course. And that's the reason why I'm warning folks no, not because the Court of Appeal, New York Court of Appeals, have recently held that, you can move forward and vacate your guilty pleas if you've pled guilty to felony charges which could have rendered you deportable. Not because the court has held that means that you're going to be okay with regards to your immigration matter.
Right.
Because if you go back and vacate that conviction, David, right, what's going to happen is that you're going to pretty much be starting all over again. Right. Now, are you going to go to trial or not? When you go to trial, are you going to subsequently be found to be not guilty? That's the issue. If you're found to be not guilty, then hooray. What if you're then found to be guilty subsequently? Then what happens is that you're going to have to now deal with the immigration consequences.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
had a client in my office yesterday. He has been around the world and back, and he said, Sandra, I said, let me come to your office and talk to you. He sat there and he said, my wife told me, if you go ahead and go and try to vacate it, and then in the end of finding you guilty, what's going to happen then? He has a daughter who is an attorney as well. He has all this property here. He has a nice job. He hasn't traveled since because at some point he had pled guilty to a felony in New York. So I said to him, what we need to do now is to get all the records to see what happened, to see if subsequently this thing is vacated and you have to go to trial, to see what are your chances of actually beating this case at trial. That's the issue. What are your chances subsequently of beating the case at trial? If it's a good chance, if you're subsequently found to be not guilty, then yes, I think you should move forward and do this.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you have to say open up a can of worms and you don't know what to do with the worms once they're out.
Absolutely. What do you want to eat today?
you know what I had for breakfast this morning?
What for breakfast?
I had a patty with curried tilapia. Really delicious.
Patty with you know what?
Curried tilapia. Yeah.
I like freshwater fish too.
Well, but it was really good though, David. It was good.
Just the name tilapia alone just turned me off.
No, it was really good.
I don't know why, but
it was really good. It was really good, I have to say.
Just turned me off.
So as we say in Jamaica, my belly full right now.
I got two people who want to openly thank you for assisting them with some questions and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got two employees who work for the Link Up Media group of companies in Jamaica at Worthington Place. I'm sorry. All right, and Sandra did one part of it, and I did one part of it. Which we have got so many young people working for us in Jamaica, about 20 something like that. I lose count because why I lose count, Sandra. Every time I say payroll for New York and payroll for Jamaica, man, it hurt me.
You're blackout.
No, I'm black. Every time I say payroll for Jamaica and payroll for Jamaica, why is all right? For a time I don't know, but payroll for US, oh god damn, But anyway, they're all well paid and they all do a wonderful job. But two of them, we wanted them to come up and participate in some conferences and so forth and some other things and more professional training. And not that they are not professionals because they're very well educated, but wanted them to come up and get some other training and some other some meetings with some big companies to help out the community. So I want to say, what name again? I'm just messing with you.
David, but here's the thing. Let me cut you.
And Kenroy, yeah.
Let me cut you. I'm sitting at my desk. I think it was late one evening, and the phone rings. So
right.
The person says, "May I speak to Sandra, please?" And I say, "Who is speaking? Who wants to talk to Sandra? This Sandra is not here." I said, "Oh." So I said, "Who do you want to talk to?" Sandra.
Right.
So I said, "All right, Sandra is here. What you want?" So we sat on the phone and we went through the process, and
right.
good natured. Your staff, they seem to be very happy with what you're doing and to be working with you as well. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you so much. What I love about them is that we have hired many people, and in capacity of the workforce, when you hire people give you the respect as a boss and they listen, even when they don't necessarily agree with your decision. These people, they remember that you are the boss, and even if they don't agree, they go with it because there's some kind of method to your madness, All right? So, and they're fast.
It's called The Secret.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanna congratulate you both, Kenroy and Samoy. You got your visas today. So you wanna tell us how the entire process evolved? Who was that?
All right.
Because Sandra was in there.
You know, I'm afraid for talk.
All right.
I gotta say.
Hey, Kenroy, how you doing?
Hi, Sandra. I gotta say, Squeeze, respect to the most. I big up yourself. People, if I was for Squeeze, part I would have done, I mean? My thanks, Squeeze. Also, Sandra, I thank you too, I mean, Macaulay. And
small thank you to Sandra, right?
No, my thank you because I went to the embassy like 4 times already, and I didn't get it. I was wondering why, And I'm asking Sandra, I'm for put why I never get it. So Sandra is like, what you have obtained? So I say, obtained a better job. I've obtained a little more cash.
Since the last time you applied, right?
The operative part, a little more cash.
What are you changing circumstances, right? That's what I asked you. What has happened since the last time you applied, right?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I never did put that last 4 times. So put it now. So I applied the secrets and everything. So we went there now. I want to tell the people. Someone said it's come like prison, but it definitely come like an enclosed area. Like them just say sit there, don't move, and put it like make you just nervous.
Right.
As you come in, them just make you nervous.
Because you are in the United States once you step on the premises. You do know that, right?
So that means I'm touching the United States.
You have been to the United States. And then what happened?
So, and then no, squeezing, I mean, him give me like a reasoning. And I mean, tap me up and say, yo, just do your, I gotta get it. Because, I'm squeezed. You know what I mean? It's my life working for.
I said, just stay positive. I said, no negative. I said, if you walk in a room with doubts and negativity, you're not going to get it. So just apply yourself, be positive, be confident, and everything will work out.
And then I'm saying, for real though, what am I afraid for? I'm working for immigration. I work for Immigration Link. What am I afraid for? I have so much back at it, man.
You have Sandra on your side.
Yeah, see, so I'm going to get nervous again. So I say, I'm going to get this. Or I'm just give them a thing. I'm going to go back at work. I'm going to edit and just link photo. And say, yeah. And then just put that positivity in my mind. And just go up. And then when I go up, I just tell him everything that I'm going to go up for some conference.
Yeah, you're telling the truth. Yeah,
so I'm going to go around the corner or nothing. And then the little piece of cheese, like him say, yo, him scratch him head and like him say, yeah, man, I'm going to stay for that sliced cheese there, because people like cheese is money, you know what I mean? Not really cheese.
Right.
Just want to disclaim that. Yeah, so him say, I'm scratching him head and look for me.
Like him, I look for something for September, right?
And I say, BioLife is like, him ask me, what is BioLife? I'm saying, BioLife
like him, I know.
Is a product, is a healthy product, you know what I mean? And he's like, so what you do? I'm like, what it does. I'm like, it boosts your immune system.
All right. Leave that to Shellyan.
I'm gonna tell them still, people. I'm gonna tell them everything like that. So he's like, okay. So BioLife is an international thing. I say, yeah, all Africa, Alaska, is there. So
yeah,
on the computer, and I'm scratching it again, like he must say, you have everything. What am I gonna do now? So I'm like, you know what I mean? Ask me a couple of questions, personal questions, and I'm answer it, and like him can't find nothing on me. So I'm just like, enjoy your flight. And people is when him push that white paper, but look on Semi and say, Semi, but the way down at the bus stop come link. And I think want them see me for change their mind. No people,
I'm out.
The quickest
You just pull a pata. I'm out. The pata do the New York in the afternoon. Him see the whole team, everybody at work. He just walk in him back and look by everybody and said, yo, I'm out.
You know, nobody change their mind or nothing.
First of all, I could have only just squeeze in my thumb and say, because I see the white slip in us. So I say, yeah, correct.
So hold on, you have different color slips?
Yeah, man, the green slip.
You have the green slip and the white slip. Go.
Blue and white.
The thing is, embassy doesn't tell you the reason why, like, hey, this is the reason why you don't get it. They give you a slip with a bunch of different reasons saying that
codes.
Codes that probably it could be one of those. Them don't tell you specifics. So say, all right, at that, I'm gonna work on that. So it's like you have to change over your whole lifestyle for go back again. You know what I mean? You can't go back with that same lifestyle. They're like, hey, you don't change nothing. What?
Right. And normally, and Sandra and we have spoken about this. Normally, young people, them give them more of a harder time to get it because they feel like so now come run off or
no
whatever.
ties,
Yeah,
no significant ties.
significant ties.
True that.
You know? But Samai, what about you? And by the way, folks, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the success of two of the employees at the Link Up Media group of companies in Jamaica getting their visa this morning, of course, with the help of our big-time super attorney, Sandra Smith, in being very professional, in extending a lot of information, a wealth of information, in letting them know.
Free of cost, of course.
Well,
you shouldn't drop in that.
Samoy, you have your boss on.
Thank you, Samoy. I'm warning
Thank you
not to send the invoice. I'm warning you from now. Yeah.
Why, swap now? No, Sandra, talk to me off the ear now.
Of course.
I squeeze and learn that from you, Samoy. I squeeze it up.
Why, man, tell her. So, Samoy, how was it for you? Talk to me. What was your process?
It was a military style. Trust me. I'm not the type of person to get nervous easily.
Right.
But trust me, when I was there, I was like, no, man, Samoy.
Go up on Kenroy mic. For phone.
Yeah, I feel like a DJ now. Yeah, that's what I say. Yes, I'm not the type of person to get nervous easily, but because of the process was really tight, a lot of security, guns all over the place, it just messed up my head.
Right.
I was like, someone, why I get nervous?
Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be. I mean, you have someone like Sandra Smith who you were well informed by. And then what kind of question I'm asking? Sorry, I'm probing, but I want people out there who have their friends and family members in respective countries to understand that, ladies and gentlemen, I always put it this way. You don't have to climb over the fence to get into the venue. You can walk through the gate.
That's
All right?
so true, David.
Yeah, don't and listen. I'm promising you this. Unless you've got major infractions, criminal infractions, you know, hold on. Don't climb over the fence. Speak with someone like a Sandra Smith. Get some information. A talk doesn't hurt. All right. But proceed, boy.
All right. Well, most of the questions were basically involving the work
That you do here.
what I do here, and you can see these people are really trained because he asked me like one question 3 different times, 3 different ways, just to see if I would give the same response. Which you know, man, an idiot, David.
Right.
So
Right.
let's
You know
tell
that.
them what
That's
I'm
why you are smart.
Exactly.
So you're a big time manager. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to me, as in when I reached to the interview process, that was the easiest part of it.
Right.
But the process of getting to the interview, because there's so much people who want a visa, I didn't even know that so much people really wanted. So just the process of reaching there was very uncomfortable for me. But the interview itself was fine because white people.
Because you were prepared. You were prepared, Samoy.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, you were prepared.
David, drill away.
What,
Had to get it right.
Tell them about the positivist session that you both got from me yesterday.
It was wonderful. We have to just give David many thanks. Trust me. Highest respect.
Yesterday, what I did, Sandra, I pulled both of them into a meeting in the studio. And I said, you need to understand something about life. And many people don't believe it. But if you listen to me, I personally guarantee you and promise you that you will be very successful in life. I said, you cannot doubt yourself in anything that you want. If there's any doubt, find a way to eliminate it. Go meditate, go exercise, do something. And they came in and I asked them questions as if I was the immigration officer. And every time they mess up, I said, no, tell the truth. Tell the truth. You know, stop holding back information. Tell the truth. Why are you going? Tell them the truth. And if someone asks you a question, you know, deliver the full part of it. Don't leave them to ask you another part of the question. Okay?
Right,
So if I say to you, why are you going to the United States? Don't tell me to visit. I don't want to hear to visit.
Exactly.
You know?
That's important.
You know,
yeah.
don't say, I'm just going to visit. No. Who are you going to visit? Why are you going to visit? You understand?
For how long are you
how
going
long
to
you're
visit?
going to visit.
Yeah. What does
Exactly.
this visit entail?
Precisely. Because when you answer their question, you know, when you answer their question in one full sentence with everything that you know they're going to ask you, you know, they now have to dig up another question to ask you.
Also, David, you may not get another chance to explain yourself. And they made a determination just based on you saying going to visit.
Exactly.
So you want to give them as much as you want to give them for them to know why you're visiting.
Right.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Exactly. And another thing that Sandra pointed out, ensure you give a lot of information on the application form. Because
Exactly.
there's a lot of things that I know that they read up on the application form and they didn't even bother to ask me because they already got the answer.
They already have it.
So they had to
Exactly.
think of other things. So even when he was pushing the little white slip to me, he was giving me a question before he let me go.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
And
very important.
Right. And the association, folks, out on the outside listening, okay? The association of whomever is coming, and they got visitor's visa, all right? They're not coming to the United States to work. It's the truth, all right? The association that you have back in Jamaica, yes, it can be, a lot of people, you know, sit on this thing that you have to have money in the bank and you have to have house and land and car. Not necessarily true. It's your ties.
Important sometimes, though,
yeah.
David.
Very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
important. But as Sandra said, ties, strong ties, you know, strong ties. And these two individuals are key individuals who, yes, they have had jobs. Okay, yes, you know, one can look up on the internet, one can make a phone call and see that they're working people. One can check to see that, yes, they do have a job. They can check their background where school is concerned, their demeanor, and they read them. But key thing is when you sit in front of anyone, be very positive. Try your best to be positive and confident. And it worked for both of you.
And David, and also what you mentioned earlier about their ages and them being young as well.
Yeah.
Not everybody will have property and bank accounts
Exactly.
and all these things.
Right.
So what do you have is the question. And in their cases, they had jobs.
Yes.
And they had, you know, positions in their jobs which were important in moving forward. So, yes.
True, and I want to disclaim this. So when I think when I'm saying if you're a male and you go to a female and press the interview, it's a myth.
When what?
When you go to a female to get interviewed, if you're a male,
Yeah.
they say you go to a female, you want to go to a woman, you know. People, it's a myth. I've been to 3 other women, them don't give me nothing. The one little time I go to a man for interview me, man
So
saying
I
I'm
said, man
an
like you.
No, man, this we put a comma there for full stop. I was saying to myself, so, I feel said the woman them like me and through them can't get me. Them just never give me it, you know what I mean?
No, but hear what? You see the thing now? You think, you see, that brother, you know, him is one of them man there because I have enough girls and them thing there. Him feel like say if him go talk with a woman, him will get through. But hear me. It's all about you just being very straightforward with people.
I'm sure if me talk to a man, I get through though. Yeah.
But you have the confidence level, Sandra.
I was the hear them. But I was
I'm
thinking,
listening.
last time I was like, I limit myself. I say, yes, if I get a woman, it's going to be easier. I go with a positive vibes this time. I say, anybody, throw anybody upon me, I mash up the interview. I forget it. I know my thing, I know buck, Ray, and I just do it. And it's a man, I say to myself.
But here, you should apply the secret or the laws of attraction and say, anybody, I am going to get it.
I said that.
So
Anybody.
so
That's
you're
why I
limited.
told the lady beside
Never
me.
limit yourself, ever.
Because when we were in the line waiting, all right, when we were in the line waiting, and there was a particular immigration officer there, she was just handing out white slip over and over. So the lady was like, yeah, man, more go to her. So as soon as she go, green slip. No, so it has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with the information that you present.
That is true. And always
That
be
is correct.
prepared, you know.
That's
Sandra, I
correct.
want to thank you so much for, of course, you know, informing them, talking with them. It just shows, well, like I said, the word I've been using a lot with you today, your depth, okay, and your experience, okay. So I got to say thanks, you know, to the law offices of Sandra Smith and Associates in helping these two young individuals here to
Keep sending them, David. Keep sending them.
don't worry, that's what I'll continue doing, you know. So we'll do that. So we're here
All
celebrating both of them, you know, getting their visas and coming up to see you and hang out with you and all of
Of
that. you know.
course, of course, of
So,
course.
so what do you want to say to everyone listening out there in reference to your office? And, you know, when are you going to be around for the holidays and all of that? You know, because I want people to come see you. Now.
Yes, you know what happened, David? I have court up until the 22nd of December, so I will be working, of course. Of course. And I just want to say happy holidays. The holiday season is here. Happy holidays to all those listening. And come on down to the office. Don't procrastinate. I know it's a holiday season, but start the paperwork now. Stop procrastinating. That's what I want to say, David.
Definitely. Once again, folks, here's what I'm saying. Now, everybody out there, you just please call up the phone line and book your appointment with Sandra. She'll find a way to definitely see you. The number to call Sandra Smith's office right now is 877-829-5297. 877-829-5297. 877-829-5297. Call Sandra Smith office right now. She's your attorney. Make the appointment. Set up the appointment. Go in and see her. I promise you, you will not be disappointed with her service. Very professional, very cost effective. And she goes out on a limb as much as possible for everyone. And she goes out on that limb with confidence. So Sandra Smith and Associates, located at 40 Wall Street on the 28th floor in the Trump building. Make sure you link up with her. Sandra, I'm going to go take some calls right now. And, well, I'll link later on. Congratulations. I've got to say that to you, too.
David.
All right?
Thank you. We'll talk. All
we'll
right.
talk.
Take